So something has been bothering me lately, and I've been having this conversation a lot with several people, especially people who are like grindcore connoisseurs. What the fuck is power violence? Like, what does it constitute power violence? Because I generally have a really hard time distinguishing the difference between power violence and grindcore a lot of the times. And I see several bands that I listen to, like Weekend Nachos, Jarhead Fertilizer, just two examples, Discordance Axis, as being labeled as power violence. And some people have even mentioned to me that the new Gridlink that came out this year could almost be classified as power violence. And I'm just like, what the fuck is power violence? And it's like, legitimately, I still to this day, even after this conversation I'm about to go through with you on Twitter that I had yesterday, I still cannot be able to tell the difference. Maybe here and there, a couple examples I got thrown my way. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see a difference and hear a difference there, but there's still a lot of similarities. And I'm still not convinced that this is just a made up genre that doesn't really make any sense. So, um, okay, so I took to Twitter yesterday. I did something a little bit different for a content video today. I purposely was going to record a video around this. And I said, can some condescending micro-genre prick tell me what makes music power violence? Now, this is sarcasm. Settle down. Um, Somebody's going to take offense to that. I still haven't figured this out. My ears are broken. And I'm just going to be honest with you. This conversation has 23 comments. Well, there's like 2 that are mine in there. It's got over 2,000 views on Twitter. And some people have chimed in with some really good examples, and some people just kind of chimed in were being trolls, which I expected that. So I followed it up with the Wikipedia definition of an extremely dissonant, which I have an issue with that word being in this description, and fast subgenre of hardcore punk, which is closely related to thrashcore and grindcore. In contrast with grindcore, which is a crossover idiom containing musical aspects of heavy metal, power violence is just an augmentation of the most challenging qualities of hardcore punk. And this is just an absolute garbage explanation, in my opinion, to the point of where I put this meme up. Because I read that and I'm like, what the fuck is this saying? Am I dumb? Is my reading comprehension stupid? I must be stupid because I still don't understand what the fuck does this mean. So Dave from 20 Bucks Spin chimed in today. This is one of the most recent tweets. So this will probably keep expanding as the day goes on. He would say that it's not a grindcore but faster, which is generally the response that I got yesterday. It's a bigger umbrella than that. Here's an example of a record that we put out that I would consider power violence from 15 years ago. So this is Primitive by the Endless Blockade. I went and listened to this, and of course, I thought it was fantastic, so now I need to find a copy of it. It is long out of print, but there's several copies of it on Discogs for a pretty decent price in terms of CDs, so I'm probably going to pick that up. But I found that to be a really good example of it. I would play it on this video, but I don't want to deal with the copyright stuff that I've been getting nailed with lately. I'm on like my second strike right now, so I don't want to deal with it. But this is a really good album. I've never heard of it, never heard of this band, never heard of this album. I listened to the whole thing, and I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it was a very good example. So if you've heard this album, I'm sure you probably know that it's really good. I mean, it's 12 songs with, as you can see, the very short grindcore type of run times. But yeah, this is really good. So I'm going to end up buying this. I'm probably just going to get the digital album if I can't find a decent copy, but I was able to find some stuff on Discogs, so we'll see. But yeah, 20 bucks spin. You guys should reissue this 100%. Like, do just a small limited run if you're worried about sitting on some inventory that won't sell. But anyway, I got Grindcore made me do it, who I talk to quite frequently on social media, and both on Instagram and Twitter. He said Grindcore only faster with less ass. I don't know. Knowing him, I wasn't surprised by this comment. I have no idea what the fuck that means. Okay. Crypticus, who is awesome, by the way, also has a YouTube channel. Definitely go and subscribe to him. I love Pat. I think he's hilarious. He does a lot of really good music suggestions. I get a lot of brutal death metal from him. He chimed in and said, I've been asking my friends this question for years and still got no good answer. Same, dude. I still am not getting a good answer. I mean, this might be probably the best thing that helps me, and then there's a couple of other down below. This one, Elliot. So Elliot talks to me quite a bit. He said a lot of stops and starts, tempo shifts, bands like Crossed Out, Spaz, AC/DC, which this is just a conversation I'm about to have in a minute. No comment. Charles Bronson, World Peace, Despise You, Infest, and other one of the first bands. So I'm familiar with Spaz. I'm familiar with Despise You. I just assumed that they were like a hardcore punk kind of crossover grindcore band. So maybe that's what I just answered. Maybe that is Powerviolence. Hello, dog. You're being loud. I kept seeing AC/DC. More than one people kept throwing this in there. And I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And I was like, dude, this has to be a different band. Like, this is not the AC/DC, like, Angus band, right? You guys are talking about somebody else here. And sure enough, you were. I went to Bandcamp and I listened to them. And my God, where has this band been for me? I've never heard this band before. Fucking love them. I bought this CD. It's coming tomorrow. I found it on Amazon. Prosthetic. This is a prosthetic release. I had a gift card. I got to use it. Okay, guys, I use my Amazon gift cards on music. So just chill. Fucking chill. Anyway, defeating the purpose of Powerviolence. But anyway, this is fantastic. This is probably another great example of what I guess you consider to be a distinguished sound of Powerviolence that I can definitely hear a difference outside of grindcore. And I found two new bands now in this conversation, of which I'm going to listen to all the time. So if you know this band, I'm sure you do. I'm behind. I know I'm behind, and people are gonna be watching this video and be like, "This is so cringe." I am death metal. All right, chill out. But yeah, so this was a good suggestion. I don't know a lot of these other bands. I need to go back and listen to them. But again, I'm out of my element here. Way out of my element. This one was a troll comment. I've seen this guy on Twitter commenting on other people's stuff before. I am rolling with it. But music for autistic people with a niche pop culture fixation escape poorly to while getting harassed by mall parking security. And I asked if his penis was hard or soft when he wrote this, because apparently he is a hard ass penis. Anyway, I expected some trolls to come in. It just happens. The internet fucking happens all the time. And I ask a legitimate question with a little bit of sarcasm in it, and of course the trolls come and pop in. I'm just waiting for somebody to respond and be super upset that he mentioned the autism thing. But whatever, we move on. Metal genres are so ridiculous. I agree. I agree. They typically are one of the biggest discourses on my YouTube channel. People generally fight in the comments about micro genres of metal and how they're stupid, or I've classified them wrong in my video, or other people are classifying them wrong. I just would like to just nip them all, get rid of them all, and just say this is metal music. But no, that's never going to happen. Simple answer from what I've gathered in my journey so far, I don't know. Oh, I love it. I'm feeling less alone right now, because I was really starting to think that there was something wrong with me. No, truthfully, hardcore punk, grindier, that's it. I mean, I guess, yeah, and that's what I'm starting to hear when I'm listening to these bands now that people are calling out, and yeah, it definitely sounds like a faster version of hardcore punk with a little bit more of the slower elements that get thrown into it here and there. Definitely, I'm stretching here, because it does sound a lot more like grindcore. Like, there's such a close similarity to grindcore for me. Again, I'm still not fully convinced that this should be its own micro genre. When I read this, I thought I'd be able to give a good answer, but I really can't. Elliot was just that this was the first comment that he made. Grindcore, but faster, louder, and angrier was always my read on it. And again, there's that AC/DC. This is also a really good album. I listened to the whole thing. It doesn't take very long to listen to. But yeah, I don't know, like the whole grindcore, but faster, louder, and angrier. I agree with that, definitely. But also there are the slow down tempos, like Dave mentioned up here in the Endless Blockade. They definitely have that, and then AC/DC also definitely has that in their song. Am I saying their band name right? Like, it just sounds weird to say AC/DC. I don't know. I'm also clueless. It's all just grindcore to me. Again, this whole thread has made me feel less lonely in the world of microgenre, trying to figure out what it is. Grind, but with goofier samples, and the vocalist has a sore throat. I didn't see that until just now. That's getting a little artsy from me. Any grindcore that you couldn't argue is playing death metal. And it's not the size of the genre that matters, it's how do you mansplain it online. Okay, so there's some really great responses that I did not notice that were on here. I think Powerviolence has been crossbred with grindcore so much that it's often impossible to tell the difference. I agree. This is my general rule of thumb. If it sounds more metal, it's grindcore, and if it sounds more punk, it's Powerviolence. I think that that's probably a good explanation, because I definitely hear more of the punk in what you guys are saying, or these Powerviolence bands. I don't always associate punk into some grindcore bands that I listen to, so I think that that is probably what's starting to help me understand this a little bit more. I think. Potentially more time changes, less high-pitched vocals, which that's not necessarily the case, because that is literally all I've been hearing. But grindcore can do that as well. Fucking hell. Okay, so is anyone else convinced that this is just a made-up genre? Like, we just let's just get rid of Powerviolence. I'm probably going to piss off so many people with this video. Super fast grindcore with 8-second songs that might just be grindcore. And I also said I bought some music. I'm updating everybody. Then I bought this. All this conversation has led me to find new bands I like, and I've bought a couple CDs now. Grindcore, fast hardcore. Some folks use it actually call it fastcore. Okay. Again, really not helping this conversation. Grind, but more punk. Okay. So, and then somebody else, I just saw this. Okay, so it's Spotify. I don't use Spotify. Guys, I don't use Spotify. I have a lot of issues with Spotify. I mean, not to say that Amazon or Apple Music are any better in terms of streaming, but I haven't used Spotify in a really long time. I use Apple Music because it comes free with our Prime subscription. And ironically, it finds all the music that I want to listen to. Every once in a while, there's a few exceptions here and there, and I just use Bandcamp. My Bandcamp is so fucking big. That's pretty much my streaming service now. Okay, let me see what this is. No. Interesting. Interesting. What is this? Oh, it's Esculia or Escuela. I don't know. Paul, how the fuck do you say this band name? You talk about them all the time in our chat. Okay, so I need to go back and listen to this. I'm familiar with who this band is. Okay. It's funny because this is Powerviolence, and here is grindcore. Is this the same exact thing? No, don't grind. It's gonna grind. Okay. All right. I'll go back and listen to that. Okay. I've asked this once, and the release that was recommended was just grindcore with some doom metal riffs thrown in there. So I don't know. Hardcore riffs with blast beats. Okay. So this whole entire thread, and I have more notifications, so I'm wondering now if this has been added on to. Let me refresh here and see. No, this must be something else that I was. Oh my God, the views just went up though. Look at that. So to cap off this really strange video today, I don't really know. Let me get my camera going here. I don't really know like what Powerviolence is still to this day. I've had this conversation several times with my friends who are pretty much, I consider them to be like the Powerviolence / grindcore connoisseurs. These are the people that collect them, that have been in the scene for a very long time, listen to it all the time, and can distinguish the sound. I still am not 100% convinced that Powerviolence is really all that different than grindcore / hardcore punk that's faster, which is okay. I guess maybe that's Powerviolence. I don't really know. My biggest question on this is Jarhead Fertilizer. If you guys are familiar, they released an album a couple years ago. They have a new one coming out very soon on Closed Casket Activities. They have a lot of death metal sound to them, but they get classified as Powerviolence, and so that's why I was trying to wonder, like, okay, is Powerviolence like a slower version of grindcore, which wouldn't make it grindcore? Okay, again, I'm just, you know what? I sound like a fucking idiot. I literally can't even explain what I'm trying to figure out here. But anyway, Jarhead Fertilizer has been classified as Powerviolence, and I don't really fully understand. I hear more death metal / noise than anything. in their music. So, and maybe they have some early releases that I haven't heard that sounds more power violence-y. I don't know. So my question to your YouTube space, I'm taking this now conversation over to YouTube. What classifies power violence? Um, and what bands are really distinctive in that sound that I should listen to? Because it seems like if I go to the experts that are able to give me those distinctions, maybe I'll start to hear it. I don't know yet because I've gone to quite a few people who I've considered experts and I still don't really fully hear it. And they have even said this is a very broad thing and it's not very distinctive. So I don't know. Is it a made up genre? I have no idea. But that's all I have today. I figured a new piece of content that isn't showing off music, but talking about a music genre that I have know nothing about, would like to get to understand someday. This is like the greatest mystery that I've been trying to figure out all year. And I am now in the desperate mode of wanting to know what the fuck power violence is. So help me out here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.